Okay, we're going to do special products. Really, you're going to use the same methods that we used in section 8. I'm just going to show you a couple special and things what they're called, all right? Now be very careful here. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see. A plus B, that whole thing squared, does not equal A squared plus B squared. You cannot distribute an exponent across a polynomial. Same thing for this. X minus 2 squared does not equal x squared minus 4. And one more not example. 3y minus 8 squared does not equal 9y squared plus 64. This is a mess. This just doesn't mean anything. This will get you all your points taken away every single time. Okay, so don't do this. I can't stress this enough. That's really what this whole lesson is about. Don't do this. Okay, this is what you need to do. Here's what the right way. And in fact, if you want, go back up here and put a big X through it. Do not do this. Do not do this. Okay? Something to tell yourself. All right. So let's do our first one, and I'll show you how to do it for real. A plus B squared means the whole thing is written twice. The whole quantity. So A plus B, and then we have to write A plus B again. Now, I don't know what your method is. Is it FOIL or box? But if you were to do this, and I'm going to do it my way, A times A is A squared. A times B is AB. B times A is still AB, so I'm going to stack that under AB. And B times B is B squared. So what I have is A squared plus 2AB plus B squared. Completely different than A squared plus B squared, so be careful. That one's a little confusing because there's no numbers involved. Let's do one with some numbers involved. So number 2 looked like this. X minus 2, the entire thing is squared, which means we have to write the parenthesis twice and then do it. Now again, try using your box method or your FOIL or however you do this. I'm going to do my kind of FOIL. Mine's more distribute, stack, and add. So x squared minus 2x, negative 2x times that, negative 2 times x is again negative 2x, so I'm stacking that where it belongs. Negative times a negative is a plus 4. I add them up and I get x squared minus 4x plus 4. Did you get that right using your method? If you don't use my method, use your method. Notice there's a middle term. Okay, that's what we were missing up here in this do not do. There's no middle terms up there. You're missing a whole part of it. Okay, so don't take a shortcut. It's not a correct shortcut. Let's do number 3, the correct way. I want you to try it on your own and see if you get the right answer. Again, it's really 3y plus 8 times 3y plus 8. So either try the FOIL, distribute and stack and add, or do your box method, pause it, and see if you get the right answer. I will give you a hint. There is a pattern here. I do not actually need to do FOIL or distribute with this because I know the pattern. I know the shortcut, but I'm not going to tell you. There is a shortcut to figure out what that middle term should be without doing all the steps. But that's kind of up to you. And if you figure it out and you wanted to explain it to somebody else, go for it. I won't explain it to you. That's something I think until you can figure it out on your own or get the explanation from someone, you need to do it by hand, okay? But there is a little bit of a shortcut. All right, now the other thing you have to do is difference of 2 squares. And I'll show you the result is the difference of 2 squares. So your answer is going to be the difference of 2 squares. Now remember, difference means subtraction, right? So we're going to have subtraction, and then we're going to have 2 perfect squares at the end. And that's going to be important later when we do factoring and stuff like that. The difference of 2 squares start out like this. Same letters, but different sign in between. So watch what happens. Okay? A times A squared. A times B, positive AB. This time, though, it's negative B times positive A. So that's a negative AB. And some of you are already seeing what's happening. And then B times B, but that's a negative B squared. So watch what happens when we add them up. We get A squared. This goes away. It's eliminated. And we're left with minus B squared. Look what we have. We have the difference, subtraction, of a perfect square minus a perfect square. Okay? Let's do another one. 2A plus 7, 2A minus 7. And again, because it's called the difference of two squares, there is a shortcut to this. I'm not going to tell you. You can figure it out, and if you can figure it out, you may use it. So, 2A times 2A, 4A squared. 2A times negative 7. Now watch your signs here. This is negative 14A, because you got to be careful. And then positive 7 times 2A is positive 14A. You should be seeing what's going to happen. And positive 7 times a negative 7 is negative 49. See what happens. Well, we're left with 4A squared. The middle term goes away, minus 49. Again, perfect square. 4 is a perfect square. A squared is a perfect square. Difference, and 49 is a perfect square. This is the difference of two squares. I'm going to give you one more, and I'm going to give you the answer. And you need to pause it and see if you get the right answer. Now, some of you may have already picked up on the shortcut, and you don't need to FOIL, and you don't need to box, and you don't need to distribute and stack and add. You figured out. That's fine. But if you haven't figured it out, stack and add until you start to see a pattern emerge. If you can discover the pattern, it's going to stick with you better than if I just tell you. So pause it. Try this. And the answer to this is 36x squared minus 1. Okay? We'll do some more practice in class, and you have your homework.